After the December 1941 attack on Pearl Harbor, the Imperial Japanese Navy carefully observed the American salvage and recovery operations with great interest because they had initially believed the damage they inflicted would cripple the U.S. Pacific Fleet for more than 6 months. They had expected that the element of surprise and the scale of destruction would leave the Americans unable to respond for a long time. But by February of 1942, they realized they had gravely underestimated their opponent. The United States Navy had indeed suffered a blow, yet it was not paralyzed. American repair operations were advancing with astonishing speed. Damaged vessels were being raised and restored, and shipyards worked tirelessly day and night. This quick recovery shocked Japanese planners who recognized that their carefully calculated gamble had not achieved the strategic objectives they had hoped for. The surprise of Pearl Harbor was supposed to buy the Japanese Empire time to consolidate its conquests across the Pacific. But instead, the Americans were regaining strength much faster than anticipated. Faced with this reality, Japanese High Command conceived a bold plan to strike again and finish what had been started. This new plan was given the codename Operation K. It was envisioned as a follow-up raid against Pearl Harbor, one that would serve not only as reconnaissance to assess the pace of American recovery, but also as a psychological weapon meant to keep the Hawaiian population in a state of fear and disruption. At the center of this plan were 2 brand-new Kawanishi H8K Type 2 flying boats, huge four-engine aircraft specifically designed for long-range maritime patrols and bombing missions. These planes were among the most advanced seaplanes of their era, with a wingspan of 124 feet, a length of 92 feet, and the capacity to carry up to 10 crewmen. They were armed with multiple defensive weapons, including 5 20mm cannons and 5 7.7mm machine guns, and they could deliver a bomb payload of more than 4,000 pounds or even carry torpedoes. Despite their massive size, they were fast and had a remarkable range of more than 4,500 miles, which allowed them to fly missions over great distances without refueling. For Operation K, only 2 of these planes were available. But the Japanese believed that was enough for a limited bombing run against strategic targets in Hawaii. The mission was ambitious and risky because the aircraft would have no fighter escort and would need to cross thousands of miles of open ocean. The plan called for the 2 seaplanes to depart from the Marshall Islands, fly 1,900 miles to the remote French Frigate Shoals northwest of Hawaii, land on the water to refuel from a waiting submarine, and then continue on another 310 miles to strike Oahu during the night. The chosen date of March 4, 1942, coincided with a full moon that was expected to provide the pilots with maximum visibility for navigation and bombing. However, even before the mission began, there were problems. Submarine I-23, which was supposed to provide crucial support, had disappeared in mid-February and never returned, though the Japanese did not realize this at the time. Despite this ominous sign, the operation continued. The pilots chosen for the raid were Lieutenant Hisao Hashizume and Ensign Shosuke, both experienced aviators from the elite 801st Air Group. On March 3, they flew from their base in the Marshalls to Watch Atoll, where they each loaded for 550-pound bombs, performed final checks, and prepared themselves spiritually for the dangerous task ahead. U.S. intelligence had noticed the unusual deployment of long-range Japanese aircraft and even issued warnings. But no effective countermeasures were taken, which allowed the mission to proceed. As the 2 flying boats approached American waters, under the cover of darkness, thick clouds and patches of fog began to spread across the sky. The Japanese had counted on clear weather, but nature worked against them. American radar stations picked up signals from the incoming aircraft, and a squadron of fighters was scrambled to intercept them. But the poor weather hampered both radar accuracy and visibility. The interceptors searched in vain, unable to locate their quarry in the vast cloud-covered sky. Around 2 in the morning, the Japanese aircraft finally reached the vicinity of Oahu, but by then they had become separated. Communication between the 2 planes broke down. Hashizume tried repeatedly to reach Sasao over the radio, urging him to adjust course toward Pearl Harbor, but he received no reply. Whether Sasao was maintaining strict radio silence or suffering equipment failure remains uncertain. In any case, the two planes were now navigating independently in worsening weather. Both men pressed forward, determined to complete their mission, even without coordination. Hashizume, flying through the fog and disoriented by the lack of visual landmarks, dropped his bombs over the slopes of Tantalus Peak, near Honolulu. The explosions lit up the night sky but caused little actual damage, landing near a school facility and leaving no casualties. Sasao, equally hindered by the conditions and unable to identify significant targets, released his bombs into the sea off the coast of Oahu, where they harmlessly exploded in the waters. With their mission essentially a failure and fearing detection, both pilots turned back across the Pacific. Sasao managed to return safely to the Marshall Islands, but Hashizume was forced to divert to Jaluit Atoll for emergency repairs after sustaining hull damage during his landing and takeoff operations. At the French Frigate Shoals, despite the mission's failure, Japanese reports later exaggerated the results, claiming that heavy damage had been inflicted on Pearl Harbor and that dozens of soldiers had been killed. Encouraged by this false information, Japanese commanders considered further raids. Hashizume himself was selected to lead another mission, but fate intervened. On March 10, 1942, his flying boat was intercepted near Midway Atoll by American Brewster Buffalo fighters and shot down, ending his life and his role in the campaign. Operation K ultimately became known not for its success, but for its daring. It remains remembered as the longest-distance bombing raid ever attempted by only two aircraft operating without bomber escort across thousands of miles of ocean. Though it failed to achieve its objectives, it demonstrated Japan's willingness to take extraordinary risks and also revealed the resilience of the United States, which by then was accelerating its war production and preparing for future battles that would ultimately turn the tide of the conflict in the Pacific. **